Good evening, everyone. The January 17th business meeting of the Newark Board of Education is now called to order.
Good evening. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and JSA 1046 et sec, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising in the Star Ledger, El Nuevo Coquí, Haiti Progress, and Luz Americano newspapers, and by distribution to the administrative offices of the Newark Public Schools. A copy of the meeting notice was also forwarded to City Hall for posting. This is a board business meeting for Tuesday night, January 17, 2017.
Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Chair Basketball Richardson.
Present.
Ms. Carter.
Present.
Vice Chair Fonseca.
Present.
Ms. Gaddy.
Present.
Mr. Jackson. Present. Mr. Lewis. Present. Ms. Owens. Mr. Padilla.
Present.
Mr. Salinger.
Present.
Quorum is present, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Before we get started with the committee reports, I just want to wish everyone a happy new year and hope that everyone had enjoyable and safe holiday season. We'll now move into our committee reports. We'll go, I guess, in this order. Personnel, Ms. Carter. Operations, Mr. Lewis. Community engagement, Ms. Gaddy. And then program and instruction. Today, Ms. Carter will be presenting for Ms. Owens, and then finally finance with Vice Chair Fonseca. So, Ms. Carter. Personnel first.
Good evening, everyone. The personnel meeting took place on January the 12th, 2017. The meeting was called to order at 5:06 p.m. Those in attendance were myself, Leah Owens, board member Phil Selinger, Andrea Cavanez, Executive Director of Special Education, Carolyn Granado, and the Chief Academic Officer, Brad Haggerty. These notes do not include the summary of confidential information that was shared during the meeting. The review of December's committee minutes were approved. We had an update on instructional vacancies. The district shared an overview of the 61 current instructional vacancies across all schools, as well as an update on progress on recruitment. Since the last Personnel Policy Committee meeting, the staffing team has met with leaders from NJCU and held an information session at NJCU about working at NPS, which resulted in 6 new teachers who are being hired by the district. The district has also come up with a plan with NJCU to attend student events at campus and set up additional information sessions. The district will also be working to establish stronger partnerships again with universities, including Seton Hall and Rutgers Newark. Board Member Carter requested information on long-term substitutes and their qualifications, as well as an update on all of the long-term substitute working on certifications and when it will be expected for them to be onboarded. Then we had an update on Central High School. The district provided an update on the staffing needs at Central High School, including an update from the roster that all teachers are teaching the full course load per Assistant Superintendent Gregory, which is an update from the last meeting, and that while no new hires have been made, 2 recommendations for hire for an art teacher and a physical education teacher has been made, and several resumes for a variety of subjects have been shared with the principal. Board Member Owens requested more details as to why an art teacher was hired. Board Member Carter would like Assistant Superintendent Gregory at the next personnel meeting to discuss an update on that school. We had a review of the separations. There have been 53 separations since the last committee meeting. We then talked about the manager, district, and charter policy operations. The district shared that as of today, which was the day of the committee meeting, 27 candidates had applied for the position on the district website. Edward Hugh is planning to begin phone screens during the week of January 23rd. And the final interviews should begin the week of February 6th. Board Member Carter stated to her fellow board members present that if there were any questions that they wanted to be asked to the candidates interview, they should email Larissa. Board Member Carter questioned why the posting for the job description was higher than the $70,000 and wanted to confirm that the district would not be paying any money towards the hiring of this position. Board Member Carter would also like Edward Hugh to give an update on at the next personnel policy meeting on the progress. Board Member Carter would like it to be known and included in the minutes that at the board training that she attended with board members, it was stated that there's nothing unethical about board members sitting on a hiring committee. However, after the meeting, Larissa wanted to add that there are unclear guidelines for this that needed to be discussed as part of the personnel transition to be in alignment with the Ethics Commission ruling on participating in interviews. Then we went through the attendance duties. The district shared the matrix that was given in the last meeting, and we have been collecting this information from schools. The district shared 2 examples, Luis Marin and Dr. E. Alma Flag. The district will be compiling this information from all schools on a Google Drive, and it will be shared with the board. Approximately 2/3 of schools have completed that thus far. The district reiterated that this information is helpful because the district can communicate directly with individuals based on their specific needs, specific areas of concerns on attendance. The committee then discussed the responsibilities that fall under the Community Engagement Specialist title. The district stated that they can share an analysis at how attendance responsibilities impacted other roles, with particular attention to community engagement specialists. Board Member Carter and Owens then requested the specific matrix for certain schools and had a follow-up questions to understand why certain duties are overseen by multiple people and or people in specific roles, such as the school nurse. New items, we spoke about highly qualified teachers. Board Member Carter would like to know what information is shared with parents. Board Member Owens would like to know what information is shared with parents about teachers who do not have highly qualified teachers in certain sections. This information will be provided to us as soon as possible, and the meeting was adjourned at 6:28.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Carter on her report?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Jackson.
Just a quick question, Ms. Carter, and I do apologize for not attending the meeting. But back to the statement earlier in the notes with regards to a board member sitting on that committee, it was said that we would have to wait to see how the transition process will look, or?
It said, after the meeting, Larissa wanted to add that there are clear guidelines for this that need to be discussed as part of the personnel transition to be in alignment with the Ethics Commission's ruling on participating in interviews. Would you like further explanation?
Yeah, I would need someone to expound on that because, as a board, as a governing body, and throughout the state, they have board members who sit on said committees.
Good evening. I can clarify the note. It is just to ensure that when board members are participating in an interview process, that we just establish what those clear guidelines are from the Ethics Commission, including not being able to actually vote on the hire of the candidate. So if they participate in the interview process, that they cannot vote on the hire. And also whether or not whatever board member is involved is not precluded to participate based on conflicts of interest, such as having family members in the district. So it's just following the Ethics Commission guidelines that are provided by the NJSBA as well. Not that board members are precluded to do it before the personnel transition. It's just that's also an opportunity to clearly establish what those are.
Right. And so with that being said, because we've gone through years of ethics training, with that being said, so we would have to make sure said board member on that committee isn't in conflict with relation, right? Meaning not related to the person or doesn't have a person in the district related to them pertaining to this position. I know I just said something real crazy. So, right, thank you. So, I'm just trying to understand.
If I may.
Yeah.
Where I was coming from, so I'm said board member.
Right.
And where
Speak on it.
my understanding of me asking to be on this was it was something that we agreed upon. But at the new board training session we went to in Princeton, Ramsey's superintendent spoke to all of us, and JSBA was there, some attorneys, and they actually have board members who sit on the hiring committee. I'm said board member. Again, I don't have any conflicts of interest, but something that we were discussing was the ethics behind it in our last transition meeting, just because we had only spoken to Patterson thus far. But I think we're still in the stages of exploring how other boards, we agree that we will look at how other boards were doing it, being that we've been under state control. But that's where I was coming from. So that meeting, there were many districts who they had board members sit and be a part of the hiring process. So being that it seems like it's something that's working over there, I don't see why we can't do it here. So I just wanted to bring that to the light.
Agreed, because by the time we finish all this meeting and ethics and meeting, the district would have hired said person.
So to be clear on this point, for this individual that would be hired, Board Member Carter is on the hiring committee and will be participating in the interviews.
Okay.
So I think there was just a clarification in general about guidance moving forward beyond this role, what the role of board members will be in hiring.
I won't be asking questions. I'm allowed to sit there.
You're allowed to
Did you
sit
get
there
it?
but not ask questions.
Yes, per the Ethics Commission.
Okay, not a problem. We'll talk about this later on.
Are there any other questions for Ms. Carter?
Move it.
So I believe the motion is to accept Ms. Carter's report. It's been moved and seconded.
Yeah, this is a motion to accept the January 12, 17 Personnel Committee report as delivered by Ms. Carter. It's moved by Mr. Lewis, seconded by Vice Chair Fonseca. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Okay, motion carries. The report's accepted.
Thank you. Next report will be Operations Committee, Chair, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you. Good evening. The Operations Committee met on January 11th, 5:05. We convened, reviewed, and accepted the minutes for December 7th operation meeting. Ms. Wilson came in and discussed with us the 2 Cedar Street move. That our new move, we're looking at to save about $2 million. Looking to move by July 2017. There will also be a public hearing on a lease that we was told that we have to have due to statute. All right, Ms. Wilson? Due to statute, we have to have this. Location was not disclosed due to negotiations at this time. Security Services report came from Mr. Ingalls, the Executive Director. Talked about Weekway last board meeting. There was allegations made about Weekway High School selling drugs out of the building. Mr. Ingalls looked into the situation. There was no activity reported. The person that made the allegation was reached out to by security staff and also by personnel staff at Weekway to follow up with this complaint. We reviewed the electronic violence, vandalism, substance abuse report for the year of 2016. There were 21 arrests. None was no handguns arrests. The chart that we was given showed that we had 152 violent incidents, 24 weapons, 39 substance, and 49 vandalism reports in the year of 2016. Facilities management team didn't report it on Science Park High School. We talked about the elevators. The elevators are now running well at Science Park. Ms. Gaddy was concerned because of Science Park being a new building, and we was reported that the elevators was not working. The water fountain, we discussed the water fountains. There are 41 water fountains in the building. There are 14 networking are not working, 14 not working in the building. Mr. Pope reported to us at this meeting that by the end of the month, all of the water fountains should be up and operating. I'm going to skip. We talked about the Dayton Street School, Miller Street, Banneker. I'm going to let at the end let Ms. Gaddy speak on that before, because I did not participate in that discussion, but there's a conflict of interest. The water update, there was 190 filters installed in the district. The committee also talked about the early childhood playground that will be presented to that will be hosting the grand opening coming soon. All board members will get an invite and be invited to the ribbon cutting. The committee also discussed the repair to heat contract. This contract is just so when our ballers go out, we're able to repair them or replace them. This is just a renewal of a contract. The committee, we adjourned our meeting at 6:15, the quickest meeting in the history. Ms. Gaddy will elaborate on the properties that was discussed.
We discussed just clarification of Benjamin Banneker. I wanted to know where that property stood, as it still had the signage of the Newark Legacy Charter School, but it is under the direction of the mayor. It was one of those schools that the mayor is going to participate in selling, right? But my major concern was the housing authority. But my major concern was the schools that surround highways, because there was grant funding from EPA to help with actual windows and things of that sort. And I wanted to make sure that the district was utilizing those funds or knew about them. We were informed that we haven't had any of those additional funds for several years, and I was scheduled to have an EPA meeting like 2 days after that meeting, so I wanted to make sure I had as much information as possible so that if it's new funding that can be used for our Newark Public Schools, I want to make sure that we're in that mix. In terms of the other schools that was also mentioned, Miller Street, of course, is with the Newark Housing Authority as well. But our concern was being that in the Community Engagement Committee, we talked about Head Start programs and paying $18,000 per student. I felt as though we should look into the utilization of some of our properties that we have, because it would then cost somewhere around $10,000 or less. And so I wanted to know what was actually going on with some of those buildings that wasn't sold and some that I still see standing that could be utilized. And so that was the nature of those conversations. We are going to continue with those conversations and ongoing meetings. Mr. Chair, that was it.
And for the record, I was not involved in that discussion.
For the record, he did not participate in those discussions.
So that ends your report?
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Lewis on his report?
I did have a question, but I forgot it.
Mr. Jackson, you have a question? Anyone else? Is there a motion to accept Mr. Lewis's report? Okay, it's been moved and seconded.
Yes, Mr. Padilla, and second by Mr. Salinger. This is a motion to accept the Operations Committee meeting report of January 11, 2017, as delivered by Mr. Lewis and Ms. Gaddy. It's moved by Mr. Padilla, second by Mr. Salinger. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Motion carries. That report's accepted.
Okay, so, Ms. Gaddy, we'll move right into your report.
No, thank you
Okay,
very much.
so, community engagement.
The community engagement meeting was held on January the 9th. It was called to order at 5:30 p.m. and concluded at 8:06 p.m. Members present was myself, Vice Chair Dashay Carter, committee members Leah Owens and Tave Padilla, Newark Public School staff, Margarita Munez, Paul, Ruth, Lizzie, Guest was Ed Hugh, Nana Ofoso Ama, I can never get a name right, hopefully that's right, Samantha Lot Velez, Naibi Kaplan, is it? And Benjamin Holman. Those were the individuals that was present. The first item of business was the review of the minutes, which was motioned, and second, and in favor of accepting. The agenda item number 2 was the strategic plan, priority 3, regarding the Office of Early Childhood. Nana and Naibi presented on the Early Childhood Family Engagement Framework, Strengthening Families. They discussed goals and the 6 key tenets used to support families. They will share the rubric with committee members. Additionally, Naibi shared a copy of the Welcome to Pre-K guide that families received. It was the best presentation I've seen so far on that committee. This is actually the handbook. This was actually the family sheet, volunteering contract. This is a very colorful book. It had all the information. She was well-versed and knowledgeable and very prepared to discuss the topic matters. I was very, very impressed by their presentation. Samantha also provided a detailed overview of the following. She explained the role of the family advocates in the Head Start program. She outlined some of the responsibilities and the role they play in supporting families, starting at the registration process. So there's about 4 different booklets. It was probably about 20 to 30 different pages of information that they speak to the families about. Family advocates have a caseload of 50 families, and they provide one-on-one follow-up and support every 30 days. She also explained the Head Start registration process, where families receive a strength assessment and a parent involvement contract during the registration process. I also asked her about, of course, the asthma management plan, which is required. Is that included in the registration process? And she said it most definitely is included. Lastly, she discussed the role of the Policy Council, Governing Board, and the management staff. Board members expressed an interest in attending the meeting. The next meeting was held on the 13th. And I know Darshay, did you attend? I know 2 of our board members was going to try to attend their meeting that was going to be held on January the 13th. She will send another calendar invite to all of us, and she shared it electronically. Agenda item 3 was the strategic plan. Priority 3, strategy. Senior manager discussed school-level community engagement. So Senior Manager Dan Denos greeted all members and provided a brief bio. He's a graduate of the district, very knowledgeable young man. He discussed school-level engagement and his support to the high schools in West Ward, and also updated the committee on the recent vacancy at Speedway. Board Member Gaddy asked how many schools do not have a CES or a person acting in that role. They said they will follow up. I agreed that I would reach out to the superintendent once again and talk to him about the status of some of the CES and their duties. Dan will follow up with Board Member Gaddy to provide an accurate number of schools with no CES in his sector. Dan briefly discussed coaching and monitoring tools to support the work of the CES. He shared monthly report forms of 2 current CESs. In comparison, he outlined the great work that some of our CESs are doing, and also shed some light around some of the CESs that need more coaching and support around parental involvement. Dan explained that those CESs that need additional support are placed on a 3-month plan to closely monitor progress and support. Board Member Carter requested to see a monthly report of Weequahic and Shabazz High School. Overall, the committee members had questions around PTA's participation, the monthly reporting, and late policy. In response to Board Member Padilla's inquiry regarding the late policy, which was followed up by Board Member Owens to discuss at the P&I agenda discussion. There's currently, and in his district, there's 24 schools, which are inclusive of 19 high schools. Next agenda item was a strategic plan, priority 3, Newark enrollment, marketing, and engagement plans. Some key discussions. They had a school fair. Ed spoke to this. He provided a recap of the highlight and challenges of the fair on Saturday, January the 7th at FSC. Overall, families were pleased. There was an increase in attendance, about 2,500 families. He acknowledged the concerns brought to his attention about the application support room and parents not allowed in the building until 10 a.m. Board member feedback, the Newark Public Schools should have been ready. They were very and knowledgeable of the current weather conditions and planned to allow the participants to enter the building earlier. All of 5 of us was at a training. Crystal, Dashe, myself, Leah, and Tave and Princeton, and we were getting texts and emails and pictures of folks on the line wrapped around the block. So we suggested that the superintendent of schools should issue an apology to the district, to the parents at the regular board meeting. Ed provided an overview of the 2-tier enrollment and communication process which will launch January the 30th. The second tier will occur on April 1st through May. Board members had questions regarding the funding for the enrollment and marketing campaigns. Ed clarified that the enrollment outreach funding is from philanthropic dollars, and the Choose NPS campaign is funded with district dollars. Board members requested a list of the philanthropic donors and how much it will cost. Board members also suggested partnerships with alumni, organizations, graduates, so that we can market our local schools. So at Arts High, all of those great actors and actresses that came from that school, we should use them in our campaign when you talk about, I know you like that, Arts High, Marquise, or the great graduates from Weequahic High School. That we should use those graduates with a bio so that it speaks to our community. We also made a suggestion that when you look at the Newark 350 celebration, there was a book that Marion Bolden had provided, which had some of the top Newarkers in this book that she published. We're saying that the district should look at that book and use some of those individuals and that information to highlight what's good about our Newark Public Schools. Board members also suggested that Paul and Ed look into a door-to-door outreach campaign to be included in the marketing strategies. Ed also gave an overview of the guidebook. All members were very pleased with the information and design of the book. So this is what it looks like. Newark Enrolls. It has all of the individual schools with the information. This is a great piece of information. We like the logos that are here from each school, the location, the deadline dates, the criteria. So we're hoping that this is not something that is not shared with the public, but it is actually given to folks so that they can actually benefit, and those parents that want to enroll, again, their students in our great schools, that they have all the information that is accessible to them. The next item was the strategic plan, planning for the board's February 13 listening session, which hopefully there are some flyers on the desk. It looks like this: Spanish on one side, English on the other. What'd you say? Well, we have Spanish right now. We're looking to Portuguese. The date is scheduled for February the 13th at Harriet Tubman Elementary School from 5:30 to 7:30. The topics are parental and community engagement, enrollment, and then it will be an open forum for our community to really discuss any concerns that they have. The agenda item 6 was updates regarding to our January speaker list, our visits to Science Park PTA, the board operating procedures manual, The parental involvement policies update, we shared a copy of New Jersey School Board Association volunteer policy as a follow-up. Board Member Owens also reviewed the DPIP shared last month and inquired what the goal around the policy is, and asked for a list of goals and tasks that our committee would be prioritizing. And one of the things that I expressed is that the Community Engagement Committee priority should be the empowerment of our parents, to engage them with as much information as possible so that they feel comfortable when they enter our schools, and that when things are happening in this district, they are informed and can make the best decisions for their children. So those are two of the priorities that we will be focusing on. The last item was next step. Board Member Carter would like to know if the budget meetings can be televised. Information will be shared with Lizzie for a proper follow-up. Also, Board Member Owens shared that she was contacted by a member of a homeless shelter for support, and she inquired if the committee would like to support a meeting at the homeless shelter. So that is being worked on with the board staff and Board Member Owens and Lizzie. Board Member Gaddy made a motion to adjourn the meeting. It was seconded by Padilla.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Gaddy?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Lewis and then Ms. Carter.
It's two things, include the enrollment center. I know I had a few parents who called me and was concerned about Science Park High School. The staff there not knowing, is the children still going to have to take the test, or what was the new requirement in order to enter into Science Park High School? So can somebody tell us, Ed, what is the requirement? Is the children still required to take the test?
There's no test for admission to Science Park High School.
So you're just going by grades now?
We have been for the past couple of years, yes.
So what's
Which includes, I should add, which includes items such as district administered tests, like in the past we used the ACT Explorer as a test measure to see how students performed. We now, of course, will have Park Data as well, which is a college readiness assessment. So it's every school is or Science Park, as well as all of the magnets, are provided that information when ranking their students, along with attendance and other data. It's been the way it's been for the past 4 years.
So my question is, how are we using Park Data when we have a lot of parents that opt out? How are we using Park Data when we had a lot of students who opt out of Park, and we had children who even wasn't prepared to take the test properly?
I'll pause to make sure I understand the question. I'll restate the question before responding. My understanding of the question is, given students opt out of Park, how would they be able to make determinations if students have opted out of Park? To clarify, the Park isn't the only information provided to schools. Schools have, and again, when I say this goes back a number of years, this goes back for the past at least 4, maybe 5 years that Science Park and none of the magnets have given an admissions test specific to their school. So that's not new. The information provided to the magnets about students who have applied include things like their attendance, their grades, any standardized test scores. So in the past, of course, that was NJ Ask. Currently, that's Park. The opt-out rates, as we know from a presentation earlier this year, we had a very high Park participation rate this past spring, even higher in the K-8s than in the high schools. So not only just the overwhelming majority of students have a Park score from which to make that admissions decision. So we feel confident that the information provided to the schools allows them to rank students accordingly.
So
Excuse me, this is not public participation.
So Arts High, Science, University, Technology, are all magnet schools, right? And the state, they're traditional magnet schools. There were criteria that was put in place in policy at these schools in order to admit into these schools. Arts High School have audition process. University had a testing process. Science had a testing process. technology had a testing process. So we saying we just got rid of all of that.
No, if I may, Brad, I'd like to jump in with an explanation. So you're entirely right, Board Member Lewis, that these are all what in the city's terminology are called magnet schools. Approximately 36% of the students who go to high school in the city of Newark, which is an extremely high number compared to other cities I at least am familiar with, attend a magnet school. And you know them, you just listed them: arts, technology, Bard, science, American history. I know I've left someone out, but those are the schools. 4 or 5 years ago, in the era that you're referring to, each school had its own individual test or admissions criteria or so on. Several years ago, that was standardized in the following sense. If a student has standardized test scores, they are included when his or her transcript is made available to each of the magnet schools, right? If they have a PARCC score, great. If they don't, great. It doesn't matter. All the information, grades, and other relevant information that would be on the transcript are made available. The schools then are permitted, right, to augment that. For example, I believe Bard does individual interviews. Arts, as you point out, does auditions. They then, taking that information, then prioritize in rank order the individuals who they would prefer, that they would choose to fill a limited number of spots. That information is then faithfully applied in the process to prioritize the seats. So that's how it works now. The difference you're pointing to, and the point of confusion that apparently a constituent brought to your attention, is these are not exam schools. If you go across the river you go across the Hudson, and you go to Bronx Science or Stuyvesant High School, which are also selective schools, or Boston Latin in Boston, these are exam schools where there's a specific examination that is the entrance criterion. That is not the way it works now in Newark. It's, by the way, these magnet schools are performing at a higher level than the charter schools, and at a higher level than the county voc ed schools, and are essentially performing above the state average. So as a graduate of Arts High School, these schools are doing well.
So my follow-up question would be, what happened to principal autonomy?
I'm not tracking your question, Mr. Lewis.
So my question is, if you're now going by a new system that's saying it's by grades, whatever, let's take for example, Arts High School, right? We have children who audition for that school for their different mini talents, but then you also, because of grades criteria, you put on a kid on that list that didn't audition.
No,
and it have happened.
Apparently,
we had kids that came up and said they was.
I apologize for the miscommunication. There is massive autonomy, meaning the central office, Newark Public Schools, two-seater, if you will, does not get involved in the process that each school leads to prioritize the applicants to the school, which is why Arts has auditions appropriately, and Bard prefers to do interviews. So they are looking for characteristics of students that they think will be the right fit for the school. And we do not superimpose a district policy on that.
So in the interest of time, I would like to suggest, I will suggest to Program and Instruction Committee Chair, Ms. Owens, that the committee look more deeply and more specifically at how decisions are made regarding the magnet schools, so that the committee can be clear on that and therefore make the board clearer on exactly what happens in terms of that selection process.
And I just wanted to,
Mr. Lewis? Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to add, Tony, as it states in for example, Science Park, if you turn to page 109, that magnet criteria is in here because we stress that we wanted parents to know what the requirements are, how kids are in here, and it also states that there's no sibling preference, because we have been getting a lot of concerns and calls from parents who have children already in those schools, and there's no sibling preference at those magnets, at arts, at science. So that's why I said that book is very informative, and some parents, when I gave it to them, they were shocked. So I think we need to make sure that, again, we're not just putting something together, but we also are giving it to the parents and not afraid of having those real conversations so we could get to the bottom of what the problems are.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. Carter.
So I'm not sure if Board Member Gaddy showed the early childhood, what would this be called? Brochure. So I just wanted to say I thought they did a really good job. No, this one. Yeah. And there's information for things throughout the city, but they also created a game about the importance of pre-K, and I thought this was a great marketing strategy or tool, and I thought this was really creative. It caught my eye, so I just wanted to say good job to the early childhood department, and I wanted to show the community.
Madam Chair,
Yeah, they did an excellent job.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd
Mr.
like to
Padilla.
second that with Board Member Carter. I sat at that meeting, and the presentation by the Community Engagement Superintendent Margarita Munoz and Ms. Nana was outstanding. One of the best presentations I've ever seen on the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
And last thing,
I'm sorry, Mr. Sellinger.
oh,
Mr. Sellinger had a question, and Ms. Carter.
Yes, can the other board members get these? Because I never looked at it.
Yes. Yes, Ms.
and the
Carter.
last thing is, I know Kim said that I wanted the budget meeting to be recorded. I want the business meeting to be recorded. So you just misspoke. So I just wanted the community to know that I wanted the business meetings to be recorded because I felt that this is where a lot of the information is about what's going on. And a lot of time our regular meetings are recorded, but you just see us vote. You don't really know what's going on. So just a correction.
Okay, so the televising of our board meetings, of our regular meetings, was done via a resolution that the board passed. So in order to change that, there would have to be another resolution.
No, I understand that. That's why I just brought it to the committee first for us to discuss to see what they felt, and then we were going to take next steps. But I just wanted to do it in the proper process. We always talk about process, so I wanted to go through protocol.
Madam Chair,
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Lewis.
when we discussed this before, that was also discussed, and we was told by the district that they couldn't afford it. So
I mean, I understand. I remember. I was.
it's
I
time
just
to look
think, you
into
know,
it,
if whatever board members want to bring to the floor again, they certainly may. Whatever resolution board members want to present, you know, they may, and we'll have the discussion at that time. Thank you. Is there a motion to accept the report?
move it.
Second.
Moved in second to accept the report from the Community Engagement Committee.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Lewis, second by Ms. Carter. This is a motion to accept the Community Engagement Committee report from January 19, 2017. It's delivered by Ms. Gaddy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained?
January the 9th.
Oh, January 9th, thank you. Any opposed or abstained? Motion carries, report accepted.
Thank you. Now Ms. Carter will present the program, an abbreviated program, I think, abbreviated program and instruction. Is that correct? Abbreviated?
It's
Okay.
abbreviated, but it's 6 pages. So let's see.
Okay. So program and instruction will be presented by Ms. Carter for Ms. Owens. Thank you.
So the program and instruction meeting took place on January the 10th. Those in attendance were the chairperson, Leah Owens, the vice chairperson, myself, board member Crystal Fonseca, and board member Kim Gaddy. Those in attendance from the district were Dr. Caleb, Assistant Superintendent Glover, Brad Haggerty, Ivory Williams, Nana Ofasu Ama. The agenda items discussed, the main topics were, there was a curricular presentation in science. We discussed the debate. There was an update on the Southport Community School Initiative with a focus on Peshon Avenue. There was an early childhood budgeting plan for next year. Planning for next year, proposed class size and composition audit. There were 8 resolutions. So finance and operations, it was the Montclair State University Network for Educational Renewal, Action Research Grant Project, Newark Arts Council Art Start Grant to Rafael Hernandez School. It was a resolution to accept that. Pre-K 5-year program plan update for 2017-2018, an associated budget request, a partnership grant, Newark Debate Academy, permission to participate, the Victoria Foundation and Focus Hispanic Center for Community Development, School Improvement Grant Cohort 4R, permission to accept funds and affirm program purpose for Louisiana Spencer. There were 3 for purchasing. Some of the smaller topics were the EVVRS report, the HIP report, policy review, which was for the late policy, follow-up on literacy data questions, the important points of information, the curricular presentation on science. Ivory Williams, the instructional specialist for science, presented to the committee the next generation science standards, which the district is using as its framework for science instruction. There are 20 years of research behind the standards, and a major tenet is student learns best by engaging the way scientists engage. Implementation is mandated for grades 6 through 12 this year and grades K through 5 next year. There are 4 investments being made with the adoption of these standards, but the big 2 the district is focusing on are 3D learning and phenomenon-driven instruction. Each standard is informed by 3 dimensions of learning: practice, core ideas, and cross-cutting concepts. By phenomenal-driven instruction, it is meant the effort on the why and the connections between the content in everyday life and STEM careers. Mrs. Williams had the committee members engaged in a demonstration involving a tea bag rocket. Discussion included committee members questions regarding science kits, teacher and staff buy-in to the new standards, pairing the physics course with the algebra course, professional development, and field trips to the Liberty Science Center. Schools place their own orders for science kits at the beginning of the year and can make adjustments if the enrollment changes. The following Thursday is the first meeting of 36 NPS educators to begin to work on review of the program. By March, the goal is to identify names of products to use. PSI was an approach used several years ago to pair physics and algebra. However, it was hard to staff physics, and the style of teaching is more teacher-centered, which the district is moving away from. Committee members also share their experiences with this approach. Last year, $56,000 was available to support science programs district-wide, including field trips. Professional development in science has been using a train-the-trainers model, working with the designated science labs at each school, though not all schools have science leads. That presentation was very interesting, and they got to do a demonstration of it. Then we spoke about debate. Carlos and Whitney for not.
Mic check! We the students! Parents and community! Demand our voices! To be heard! We refuse to be silent! On issues regarding our education! We demand to end one North! We demand full local control now! We demand surf must go!
Surf must go!
Surf must go!
Surf must go! Surf must go! Surf must go! Surf must go! Surf must go! Surf must go! Surf must go!
In 2015 at 13th Avenue School, I liked the science and English teacher, but was still graded for both subjects every cycle. I now attend Science Park High School, where parents express their displeasure in high enrollment of Spanish and Portuguese girls and little to zero enrollment of black males. I go to a school where Miss Anna Cerro, a history teacher at Science Park High School, made inexcusable racist remarks about the black race. Why? Why are these injustices being looked over? North Public Schools, where you're working together, developing students' intellect, teachers' character? No, this is a school district who have people who manipulate their power and cheat ill-informed people out of their human rights. Next speaker.
Okay. I'm a parent of 13th Avenue School. My son doesn't have a math teacher since September, October, and they are having.
And he say it ain't happening. Turn around and look at him. He say this is not happening in our North Carolina.
We as a parent doesn't have information. We are lack of information, lack of communication. We need to be engaged each other. My son must have to fight twice because he has to protect another kid for bullying. And we think bullying doesn't happen. My son is a good boy, but he fight two times protecting another children. This is not fair. This is happening.
Next speaker, please.
And this problem has been happening since long ago. When I was in Sussex Avenue School, I did not have an English teacher. I did not have a science teacher. I did not have a world language teacher. The only teacher I had was a math teacher. My world language teacher only came in 3 times. And now I go to school, Science Park, where our activities, where our after-school activities are cut. Half the people go to school because they are able to take advantage of these opportunities, and you dare take that away from us. It's what we care about. It is a part of us.
Next speaker, please.
John? Hello, my name is John Bethia, and I am a 6th grade student at 13th Avenue. My ELA teacher was assaulted in her classroom, so now we don't have a teacher, and now we have a substitute who called herself spelling organism, and she spelled orgasm.
Oh. Next speaker.
Hello, I'm Celestine Swain. I'm a parent, volunteer at 13th Avenue School. I'm also a part of the PTA, and John and Azay are my children. No ELA teacher since October 2016. Mr. Bartholomew, hired by Principal Rose, worked 2 weeks and didn't receive a paycheck. She asked him if he went to the school board to fill out proper paperwork. He said no. How was she able to hire a math teacher that was not employed by North Public Schools? Who is this person? She allowed in 13th Avenue without a background, fingerprint, or credential check. This shows how dangerous and incompetent she is, putting our scholars and teachers' lives in jeopardy. We have an excellent 7th grade teacher that was fired because, Mr. Surf, you asked teachers what was needed when you came to 13th Avenue PTA meeting on January 21st, 2016. Principal Rose said he embarrassed her in front of you. How was she able to blacklist him in North Public Schools? Rose must go.
Next speaker.
I'm not done, I'm sorry. The PTA and the parents of 13th Avenue emailed Assistant Superintendent Glover several times to set up a walkthrough with him, along with the PTA, parents, and school board meetings, and he chose to ignore us. We are not on his time, he's on ours. The PTA, the parents of 13th Avenue invite you, Mr. Sir, and Mr. Glover to 13th Avenue tomorrow at 9 a.m. for a walkthrough. We'll be waiting. Our 6th and 7th graders will not be taking the park examination. Next
speaker, please.
Unfortunately, hi, my name is Wilhelmina Holt. I'm the secretary at 13th Avenue PTA. Unfortunately, what the parents and children are saying is absolutely correct in terms of they do not have a consistent direct instruction since October in math or ELA. Now that sets them up for failure because the park exam is in less than 60 days and they're expected to take a test. Now here's the interesting fact. On the interim test, and I'll leave that up to our next speaker to tell you how we have fallen so far behind that now the children are crying and upset because they did not pass the interim test, and they're frustrated, rightfully so. But really, what's most disturbing is the lack of rigor in the building. If you walk the building, as some of us have walked the building, there's nothing that reflects rigor in the standards that we see in the other elementary schools, such as Quitman, such as Ann, such as Ridge, such as First Avenue. It is not there. What's unfair is the children deserve to have minimally a highly qualified teacher with direct instruction on a consistent basis, all of them and not some of them.
Amen. Next speaker.
Next speaker.
This is the real report of the Newark Public Schools.
Yes, ma'am.
This is the real report
Go ahead,
that is
Ms.
given, that is not given by Mr. Sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Not the facade they try to pull off.
Wait, next speaker.
One Newark has had a direct impact on student attendance in this district, and yet our kids are penalized when they're filling out applications for high school. We have students who have not had certified teachers in math and science and language arts and literacy for an entire year, and yet they're expected to excel on their applications in these areas. It is unfair. In our recent interim assessments, students went from a 15.4 to a 3.2, a 30.8 to 12.9 last week. Our students are suffering because they do not have qualified teachers in the classroom. Staff vacancies, student attendance, staff attendance, and this joke that we call restorative practices must be reviewed. We need organized recess for our children in our schools, and our school leadership council should have a right to select the person that they want to lead their schools. Our voices will not be ignored. We will not be disrespected.
Next speaker.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome today. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe our children deserve to learn. We shall overcome. And they deserve it today.
Whose schools?
Our schools.
Whose schools?
Our schools.
Whose schools?
Our schools.
Whose schools?
Our schools.
If we don't get it, shut it down.
If we don't get it,
Shut it down.
we don't get it.
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 Shut it down.
Whose schools?
Our schools.
Whose schools?
Our schools.
Whose schools?
Our schools.
If we don't get it,
Shut it
if
down.
we don't get it,
Shut it down.
if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
Whose schools?
Our schools.
Whose schools?
Our schools.
We don't get it.
Shut it down.
No justice.
No peace.
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 Thank you.
Thank you all.
You're welcome.
You shouldn't be lied to.
So then we spoke about debate. Ms. Carlos, Estacio, and Whitney presented on the Newark Debate Academy. There are 4 different branches of the Newark Debate Academy. Most of the presentation focused on the classroom debate branch. There are currently 20 active classrooms in 6 Newark public schools. NDA draws on what the students are learning at the time to foster their debate skills. 35 teachers attended a professional development session in September. After that, 15 more teachers signed up, but the NDA does not currently have enough staff to support additional teachers. NDA also organizes public debates where debaters perform in front of a school assembly and allow time for an open question period after the debate itself. NDA also has a cable show that keeps the public updated about debate for the entire city of Newark. The single most impactful success of NDA was identified as Newark Public School students' competitive debate success. Eastside, Science Park, and University High School have competed successfully not only around the country, but there has been presentations on the international level. NPS students are outperforming students at some of the most prestigious universities in the country. Many who have engaged in competitive debate have now come back to Newark to contribute. 100% of involved 8th graders achieved a 4 or above on PARC. NDA would like to further partner with the district by offering debate during summer enrichment. An update on the South Ward Community School Initiative. The committee was provided with detailed information regarding how the South Ward Community School Initiative is being funded. There are many sources of funding for each of the community schools: local funds, Title I, school improvement grants, and the Facebook Foundation for Newark's Future. Title I funds 2 initiatives: longer school days and actual programming during the school day, extended learning time. Social workers and blended learning are examples of what $4 million of SIG funding will be used for at Shabazz over the next 5 years. Analysis of the budget expenses by school for 2016-2017 school year for the $10 million of Facebook money. For Belmont Ryan, there's $441,000 and $441,755 for non-salary expenses, $719,000 for salary expenses, which gives you a total of, Brick Avon is,
No, excuse me, but we have the business of the board to take care of, and if you cannot respect that, then we're going to have to ask you to leave. We allowed you to speak the first time. We're going to have to ask you to leave. Can we get a motion? Can I get a motion for a 15-minute adjournment?
Second.
There's a motion on the floor for an adjournment not adjournment, I'm sorry.
Motion.
For a recess, 15-minute recess.
Motion for recess.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor for a 15-minute recess. Is there a second?
Second by Von Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Any opposition to that?
We can hear you.
Motion is for a 15-minute recess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me, you cannot do that, dear. Hello?
Granted, right? Motion's granted. 15-minute recess.
Are we doing a roll call?
Do a roll call. Yes.
We'll take a roll call. Chair Bassable Richardson?
Yes.
Carter?
No.
Ms. Von Seca? Ms. Gaddy?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
No.
Mr. Padilla?
Yes.
Mr. Salinger? 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 yeses. Motion carries.
Okay, we will have, the board will now have a 10-minute recess.
Whose schools? 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 If we don't get it, 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 no justice, no peace, 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 no justice, no peace,
You'll be walking out of office.
no justice, no peace,
No
justice,
no peace.
We work all day, study all night. Now's the time. Education is right.
We work all day, study all night. Now's the time. Okay, education is right. We work all day.
We work all night.
Now's the time. Education is right. Repeat
We
it.
work all day. We
Study
work all night.
Now's the time. Education is right.
We work all day. We work all night.
Now's the time. Education is right.
We work all day. Study all night.
Now's the time. Education is right.
We work all day. Study all night.
Now's the time. Education is right.
We work all day. Study all night.
Now's the time. Education is right.
Work all day.
Study all night. Now's the time. Education is right.
Ain't no power like the power of the students, cause the power of the students don't stop.
Ain't no power like the power of the students, cause the power of the students don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the students, cause the power of the students don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the students, cause the power of the students don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the students, cause the power of the students don't stop.
Say it again.
Ain't no power like the power of the students, cause the power of the students don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the students, cause the power of the students don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the students, cause the power of the students don't stop.
Ain't no power like the power of the students,
Cause the power of the students don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the students, cause the power of the students don't stop.
Say
We
what?
ignore our voice, but we will be heard.
Today.
Today's our day.
We will be back.
Surf must go. 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 Surf must go.
Students should feel comfortable in the place they are entitled to learn in. The students run this entire establishment. They can all run off and try to ignore us, but without us, they have nothing. Absolutely nothing. That's right. Okay? That's right, baby. And it's a shame how most of the people in this boardroom meeting are black. And it's a shame how the white people in this room who try to ignore us run off the black people.
The students united will never be defeated. 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 The students united will never be defeated.
Don't touch the students. Don't harm a hair on his head.
He is not supposed to treat us.
Not one hair on his head.
We have a right to sit here. We need a superintendent
You don't want that
who will represent us. No one who will just always ignore everything that we say to. We are trying to fight our education. You will not be the one to fix the problem if we won't deal with
Who shut it down? Who shut it down?
Get up and come over on this side.
Our school.
Whose school?
Our schools.
Whose schools?
Our schools. Our schools.
Whose schools?
Our schools.
Whose schools?
Our schools.
Whose schools?
Our schools.
No justice.
No peace.
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 The students and the parents will never be defeated.
The students and the parents will never be defeated. The students and the parents will never be defeated.
The students and the parents will never be defeated. The students and the parents will never be defeated. The students and the parents will never be defeated. The students and the parents will never be defeated. The students must go. Surf 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 must go. Where is surf? 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 See, who do you think is affected? Where is surf? Where is surf? Where is surf? Local control now! Local control now! Local control now! Local control now! You think local control now? No! Local control now! Also try to control now! Local control now! The black control now! There will be other control now! Other people who will come now! Local control now because of this! Local control now! Local control now! We demand control now! Local 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 control now! If we don't get it, shut it down! 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 If the students don't get it, shut it down! Parents don't get it, shut it down! Teachers don't get it, shut it down! Community don't get it, shut it down! If we 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 don't get it, shut it down! Whose schools? Our schools! Whose schools? Our schools! Whose schools? Our schools! Whose schools? Our schools! No justice? No peace! No justice? No peace! No justice? No peace! Surf must go! 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 Stop on Newark now! Stop on Newark now! Stop on Newark now! The arguments that they run arguments about, black autonomy. They run arguments about how they go out every day. They have to go through racism because they are part of a charter, because they are part of a charter school, because they are black, because no one respects the schools in Newark. I am a part. At Science Park, we started a marching band called the Legion of Boom. We have tried to bring together the schools of Newark because we try to give Newark the honor and respect it deserves. Newark deserves respect. We, the black body, need to be saved from our systematic oppression. We need to be saved from these schools that will only hurt us, that will lead us to prison. Stop on Newark now! Stop our schools! Our schools! Our schools! Our schools!
Just one last word. I just thank you for listening to me and not running away from the problem I'm trying to present to you as people. Like our leaders supposed to be mature. Our leaders supposed to have reasons for their actions. No, we asked them the question, and the reason we allowed was so that we get their attention.
Who is your leader that you're talking to?
The leader I am referring to is Christopher Surf, whose chair is now empty. Disrespectful. So, yes.
Rude.
But if the people were to disrespect him, I think that's what he says. He's going to leave, but if he disrespects us, let's not talk about the teachers he forces to do his bidding, but still don't give him but just thank you. Please don't ignore the Notion, please don't ignore the actions that your school leaders have portrayed tonight. This is a serious issue that will continue. That will continue if the people who have the most power will ignore it. As I said before, they don't have power if they don't have us. If nobody chooses to, participate in his endeavor, him and his league of liars will have no power. I am a Zabelian, if you don't know. I go to Science Park High School. I am the president of the student union. And whenever you need me, I will be there to speak because I am no
Deshaun Wright, who is being paid by the charter school movement to be on our surf, got him as the chief. Now, if he ain't being paid by them, tell him to tell us who he's being paid by, because that when I opened it, they gave me a contract that said he has permission and information about every child in the public school, your records. But yet they won't tell us who he's paid by and what he's doing with that information, your personal information, parents. Do you know that? Do you see this man? I don't know him. Do we know what he do?
No.
Now, we need to start questioning what does Deshaun Wright do and ask this board to bring him before us and tell us why do he have access to your information and you don't know what he doing with it. Well, what he doing with it...
Who are you? 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 Who are you?
And let me tell you what Deshaun is doing, because he worked for the charter school movement. They want to make people believe that people in Newark choose the charter school. He takes that information, pass it to the charter school. They translate that information into Portuguese, Spanish, and English, send out letters to those parents, and that's how they're ciphering off our children from Newark Public School. Deshaun Wright, ask him why he here. Ask him why do he have information. Ask him why do Antoinette Baskerville, the head of Newark Public School Board, give him the time of day when he's not being paid by Newark Public School. He's not on any payroll. When questioned for the BA, Veronica Wilson, she said she can't tell us who he's being paid for because she don't know. He's not a part of Newark Public School. So if he's not a part of Newark Public School, why does SURF need him? If you follow the money, you will follow why. Don't let Mr. SURF sit here and tell you anything different. Now question, who is Deshaun Wright? Why is he here?
Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
Why do you have access to your information?
Why do you have access to our information?
And your children's information. And what are you doing with it?
Yes, ma'am.
What is he doing with it?
Yeah. His name is what? Let me write his name down.
Deshaun Wright. Go Google Deshaun Wright. Deshaun Wright. Charter school operative from New York City. Follow the money. And when you follow the money, see the connection he has to every last one of them that sit over there. All of them are charter school. Because Surf said, Mr. Surf said at one board meeting, Deshaun Wright is there because he want him there. He works for him. But he ain't being paid by him. So I have that information. I opened the contract. So for Newark Public School Governing Board, what does he do with our public